So I'm gonna pull my hair back really fast, just because I don't wanna get my hair made up since it's already done. So I'm just gonna get it out of the way for me. And always you need to start, of course, with moisturizing. So, whoops, I'm gonna give you the daylight. I'm gonna do a couple quick little pumps, and then I'm just gonna put it all over my face. Make sure it's all in there. There we go. Daylight done. Next step is primer, because you want your makeup to stay on your face, not in your face. So primer, stay away from those fine lines and wrinkles with the primer. I'm gonna give this a couple of good pumps, and I'm gonna throw this everywhere on my face. And I like to pay special attention right under my eyes and up on my forehead, because that tends to be where most of my fine lines and wrinkles are. There we go. Okay, next step is I'm gonna do a little mixing. Hi Jody, I'm doing a little mixing on both of my shades of foundation because it's winter. So typically with the Flawless Foundation, I'm a 2.5. But because of the winter and not seeing the sun, I need to adjust that a little bit. So I'm gonna mix both of these together. And because I need it to be a little more moisturized, I'm gonna add daylight in there. So I'm gonna do all three together, and I'm gonna use the back of my hand as a little bit of a palette to mix it together. So I'm gonna do one pump of number 2.5. I'm gonna do another little pump of 2, and then I'm gonna do a pump of the daylight to keep it nice and moisturized. So I'm gonna put that on there, all there, and then I'm gonna mixy mix. I'm just gonna create a nice coverage with both of them. So it's gonna be more like I said, a tinted moisturizer. So it is kind of flopping around in my hand. And then I'm just going to dot it around on my face for as much of an even application as I possibly can get. And of course, it's not going to, hey Megs, we are doing a little bit of my own tutorial from what I learned from Miss Kristen on Instagram for dry skin. So there we go. We've got some fun skin going on. I'm just gonna wash off my hand really fast. Okay, then I'm gonna grab my number 1 Crunchi flat top brush. This thing is amazing. And then I'm just gonna go in patting motions around my face. And I'm just gonna pat that in. And I will say that when I do this with the moisturizer in there, or with the daylight in there, it does feel, of course, a little wetter than it normally does. But it dries really quickly and nicely. So with that moisturizer in there, it's giving you obviously just a little extra moisturizer, but it also gives a really nice, like dewy complexion on your face. So it doesn't look dry, which my face totally is. The other thing with this is I'm not going to completely set it with setting powder because I do want it to look a little extra moisturized all over my face. So I just am going to make sure that everything, and I go right over my lips, I'm just going to make sure that everything is set in there nicely, looking in my mirror. Okay, there we go. Next step for me is going to be my Alibi Concealer. So I use 2 different shades of my Alibi Concealer. This one happens to be 2, which is light, so I either do 2 or 3. And I'm also going to use the number 6 brush, right? The number 6 foundation brush. And I'm just gonna use a little bit. One of the tips that Kristen gives is not to go all the way around your eye, especially if you have those fine lines and wrinkles, just wherever you would see any like purple or blue. Sorry, I'm looking in my other mirror over here. And I'm just going to pat it in there, get rid of that blue. I finally got a decent night's sleep last night, so I'm feeling pretty good about my dark circles, which had gotten really bad this week in between work and kids not sleeping. Thankfully, my husband was awesome and let me sleep in a little bit. So I'm gonna leave that in there, and I'm gonna use my finger in just a minute after I get this owie right here. There. So I'm just gonna leave these for a second so that the concealer can kind of set in a little bit. And I do wanna blend this little bit in here again, because with that concealer, you can see it. So I'm just gonna take my finger and blend that in, but still leaving a little bit in the corners of my eyes to give it a little bit of a brighter look. Okay, then I'm gonna take my my setting powder, my translucent finishing powder, and I just am gonna use a teeny tiny bit because I just wanna use it under my eyes. I'm actually gonna use the number 4, which is what I use a lot of times for blush. I'm just gonna get a tiny bit on there, and I'm just going to, hi Darlene, I'm just gonna pat it underneath my eyes, which is where I want it set. But I wanna keep the rest of my face looking dewy. If you want, you can go in your T-zone if you do get some oily skin. I don't. Most of the time I'm on the dry end, so that's all I'm gonna do for that. Okay. So done. Now I'm gonna go on my eyes. I did put primer already on my eyes. However, another quick trick is you can go back to primer, do a teeny tiny little amount of primer, and put it on your eyes, just so that your eyeshadow sits there a little bit better. Oh, and look it, I got primer. The good thing is you can always go back through. Oh, if you can hear my little one, he is singing to himself. Okay, I'm gonna do my eyes now. So I'm gonna do my entire lid in Tiki, and I'm gonna use this number 9 blending brush. So I'm just gonna dab, 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 and I'm gonna just go all over my eyelid just to give it a nice color base. I don't know why I feel the need to do this, but I do. Okay, so I'm just gonna get that entire eyelid. It just gives a tiny bit of color with that Tiki shade on there. Then I'm gonna take one of my favorite colors. It's called Champagne Pop, and I'm just gonna use my finger, and I'm just gonna do the inside corner, just barely, of my eye with like a little pat. I asked someone the other day, am I too old for sparkle or shimmer? And the answer was no. So I feel like as long as it's not like a bright blue or something like that, we are good to go with the shimmers. All right, done with that for now. Then I'm gonna take and I'm going to use my Crunchi 8 brush. Nope, that was Tiki. I'm gonna use Faux Suede in just a second. Right now, Megan. So this is Faux Suede. It's one of my favorites. It's like a brown. And I'm gonna use this, what was this, number 8 brush. And I'm just going to pat it in there. And I'm just gonna do the corner of my eyes. And I'm just, see, you just pat that corner. I can give it a little bit out on my brow right there because my brow bone is a little bit lower. So I'm just gonna pat that all into the corner. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect because I'm gonna come back and I'm going to use a blending brush for this. So see, just pat on the outside corner. I'm gonna do this one as well. I just want that corner. And you don't want your eyes, whoops, see I got a little bit crazy. I'll fix that in just a second. You don't want your eyes to look droopy, so you always do want to go in that upward motion. Okay, hold please, I got a little crazy. So I'm going to go back to my flat top and I'm kind of going to erase it. Let's start that over again, shall we? With my, because I can't see on that side the way my hand is. Oh boy, someone is really singing over there. Okay, then to blend it a little bit, I'm going to use the number 7 brush, which is this flatter brush, and I'm just going to blend it kind of to the inside so you can see those lines that I've been creating kind of starting to disappear. So it's just the corner of my eye. If you feel like you need a little bit more color, I kind of do, like I feel like I kind of have a hole over here. I'm gonna go back to that and I'm gonna pat it in there a little bit more. And then I'm gonna blend, okay? So just on the outside corners. Done with those two. I'm gonna keep that faux suede out because I'm gonna use my duo brush, which is the spoolie. I'm gonna clean up my eyebrows. And then on the chisel tip, I'm gonna go back to that faux suede. I'm just gonna pat a little bit in there and I'm gonna fill in my brows. Now, this isn't to draw different brows. This is just to fill in, whoops. This is just to fill in your current brow, okay? Just to give it a nice, so they look nice and full. See the difference between those two? And then I'm gonna add a little bit more, go over to this one. And it does make such a difference in the frame of your face to have all of that on your brows. Drew accidentally on there. Okay, there we go. Done with faux suede. But I am gonna keep this chisel top and I'm gonna draw myself some eyeliner. So we don't have eyeliner yet with Crunchi, it's coming. So I'm gonna take black and I'm gonna take my chisel tip. I did actually wet it down. So I'm just gonna dab it in there just a little bit and I'm gonna run it under or over at my lash line, just so it looks like a line of an eyeliner. And then I'm gonna do the same thing. I don't want a thick line because this is a really natural look today, but I just want enough along the brows, or no, along the lash line. And when you put it along the lash line, it also makes your lashes look fuller. I'm not gonna do any wings or fancy stuff because honestly, we're going to Lowe's today and what I'm doing is actually probably more than what the people of Lowe's would expect of me. So then I'm gonna go along the bottom and I keep it as close to my eye as I possibly can. And I treat it like a pencil and I just drag it. Because it's a little bit wet, it starts to feel like a wet liner. It was Tiki, which I think is coming, Megan, in your Hostess Rewards, if I remember right. Okay, liner done. So super light line, nothing dramatic for me today on those, on the eyeliner. Okay, la la la. If you haven't seen in the group yet, this and this are on a gift set. So Lashes for Days and the Lash Curler. This is not the 1970s mom lash curler. Do not be afraid. You just get your lashes in there and it is, I mean, it's got some power behind it. So you just do that and it automatically curls your lashes. But don't crimp, don't squeeze it too hard or you're gonna get a crimpy eyelash. We don't want to crimp our hair. This is not the 80s. So crimp, and then I'm going to use Lashes for Days. This lash mascara is a little bit different than what you may be used to. I feel like it's a dry mascara, which is totally fine. I just feel like I need a few more coats than I normally would. So I take my brush and I really concentrate on the root. I put it at the root and then I squiggle it all the way through. It also helps if you close your eye and move it up at the same time. But down in that lash line and squiggle. And then I take the top of my brush and I will go and just kind of pull out those lashes a little bit more. On the bottom, I get to the root and then I just squiggle down as well. I don't have much for lashes on the bottom, so I really do use the point of that. Get another one, go back up to that root, squiggle it, back and forth. Generally, I do 2 to 3 coats. See, I've got to get in there with the tip of my brush. And then I'm going to do the bottom. Really fast. If you can stay at the root and then pull down, another tip is you can get at the root and use your spoolie and bring it down, and that will cause or save you from having any fallout on the bottom. Then I'm going to do it again, start down at the root. This is where I really start to see my lashes go on. is when I get on my second coat. And it feels like I really drag it, but that's where the coating comes from. So don't be scared. The only thing I get scared about is poking myself on the side, but I know I can always fix that. And then I'm gonna get this bottom. And I think I'm just gonna call it quits with two coats today. I think it'll be good for my hubs and the boys that are home. I think it's better than what they've seen so far today, which has been a whole lot of nothing. Hi, Vicky. All right. I couldn't get my bottom lashes as much as I would want to, but makes a huge difference. Okay, I'm not gonna forget about blush. I never used to be a blush girl, and then I tried Crave, and I love it. It gives just a nice rosy little glow to your cheeks. So I'm gonna use that number 4 brush. This is the one that I used for setting powder, but now I'm going to use it on my cheeks. So if you don't have one of these, we learned about these from Sarah. They take the color off any of your brushes. So I just want to get any of that extra setting powder off of there. Then I'm going to use Crave, which is universal. No, if you're afraid of color on your cheeks, start with this one. And we're just going to pat it in there. And I'm just going to go where I would smile. Just a little bit. Just put a few dabs on there. I just like it to look like maybe I have been smiling, but not like running up and down the stairs. So just enough. Then I'm going to use one of my new favorite Lush lip glosses. This one is Namaste. I need to make sure I have the right one. So it's just a little bit of a pinky hue on a nude, and I'm just going to throw that on there. It smells like cupcakes. Keeps my lips nice and hydrated throughout the day. And I'm done. Done. Hair done. Ready to go.